Today we have 7 phenomenal courses of food, all laced with alcohol, a number of international sobriety tests, one of which you can see happening in front of you, and an official breathalyzer. We're setting out to prove whether you can eat yourself drunk. Before we begin, we must take a benchmark reading. We have a breathalyzer. Boys?
Jamie has an app on his phone that sends him daily reminders not to drink.
Swipe.
Eventually it'll beep and then you can stop.
Less than 0.05 milligrams per litre, low level or zero alcohol.
Now what we're looking for is a back reading, blood alcohol concentration.
Low. 0.05.
Now this is how it's going to work. Kush has been preparing a carte blanche menu, basically. Free reign to do a 7-course tasting menu that has booze as elements within a dish.
Is the translation of what you said a tasting menu?
Well, carte blanche basically means the chef has free reign to do something that they like.
A white menu.
So it's not necessarily, it's carte blanche, and sometimes they'll tell you at the end what you've had.
He keeps just saying the same phrase.
To explain it.
Yeah, to explain it. It just means it's carte blanche. Yeah.
Carte blanche.
Carte blanche.
It means carte blanche.
It's a bit like omakase in Japan. You just trust the chef.
What does that mean?
It's a bit like carte blanche.
First up, some canapes.
Oh!
Wow. Oh,
They look great.
the standard has already been set. What have we got, Ebbers?
I'd like to start with the Brazola, which is with Calvados infused apple.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So very simple, they're apple batons that have basically been vat packed with Calvados. So it's a French apple brandy.
Okay. So
When you say vat packed, do you mean absolutely packed?
it's clear the direction we're going in.
So French apple brandy, obviously from France, Normandy, 40% ABV, so alcohol by volume. And actually what's working nicely is that kind of apple brandy, kind of warm, fiery flavour brandy with the sweet tang of apple and then that meaty, cured Brazola.
It's really delicious.
The
Isn't it?
fattiness of the Brazola
Yeah.
actually really plays off the kick from the alcohol.
Move on to the gazpacho.
This has not also been spiked, has it?
Gazpacho.
Gazpacho with raki. So the Turkish aniseed spirit that works so beautifully with all of the fresh Mediterranean vegetables that you get in the gazpacho. The usual suspects, peppers,
Oh, wow.
tomato, cucumber, sherry vinegar, but that little dash of raki at the end just lifts it.
I was going to say, the sherry vinegar in a gazpacho is delicious because it adds the tang.
That is incredible.
With raki in it, that's
the aniseed flavour and the roasted vegetable, the sweet roast of the vegetables in it. Absolutely stunning. Wow, that is great.
Is that a normal kind of pairing?
A little splash of alcohol, and what we're doing here is taking dishes that benefit from a tiny splash right at the end, just to lift the dish. It gives it an acidity, it gives it a bit of a freshness, and in this case, it gives it a herbal complexity to work with the gazpacho, Mediterranean flavours. It's a Turkish spirit drink, again, 40%.
My mouth feels like I'm battered already. Do you know what I mean? It's just got alcohol everywhere.
Yeah.
And the last tiny morsel is some salted grappa-infused watermelon.
Wow.
So the compressed version using a vat pack machine again, but seasoned watermelon that is seasonal. And then it's got grappa, so an Italian grape brandy.
It's what that's essentially done, Ebbers, is replace the water in a watermelon with alcohol.
It's a grappa melon.
It's a lovely way to get the meal started because you're instantly going, I'm excited now, then they bring you the wine menu, and because you've already had that little taste of booze, you make sure you order.
Shall we go out?
Yeah, I think so.
Now it always takes a few minutes for alcohol absorption to begin, up to 10, but maybe we should do a sobriety test.
There is danger tape on the floor.
Boys, come into our test zone. So we've also found through our research a number of sobriety tests, things that sometimes happen roadside if you were to be pulled over. Some of them may be more urban myth, but hey, fun to try.
Brilliant.
We're going to start with the standard, the walk and turn test.
Okay.
All you have to do is take 9 heel-to-toe steps along a straight line, turn on a single foot, and return in the same manner. Mike, you step up first.
Turn on a single foot. Okay. 7, 8, 9.
Whoa. Yeah.
That I was just too flashy with it. Easy peasy.
You got this?
Aside from the mouthfeel, I don't feel like I have any alcoholic impact on myself.
No, and to be fair, it can take between 10 and 90 minutes for it really to kick in and for full absorption and mediation around the body to take place.
So by course 7,
We are going to be on the floor.
we're going to be kissing.
Yeah.
Jamie, some countries like you to do this test with your hands in your pockets. So if you could do that.
Oh, right. 4, 5, 6.
Then we know
7,
that Jamie is
8,
deft
9.
at a cartwheel. Excellent balance.
1, 2, 3.
The equivalent of jazz hands with his toes.
Voila. Oh, and a little...
I don't think we have any issues there. Take a seat, let's take another reading.
Oh,
Here we go.
Evers!
Already?
Already 0.10.
Goodness me.
Low. Less than 0.05. That's mad.
That is.
What we'll also do is keep a visual representation of all the alcohols you've drunk, and we basically put the smallest measure you can buy under the Weights and Measure Act into each one.
Excellent. We're just going to see that build and build and build.
Would you like an amuse-bouche?
Oh,
Yes.
Amuse my bouche, Evers. Come on.
Something to excite your mouth.
Oh, that looks very pretty.
Wow.
What you have is a tequila-cured salmon gravlax with creme fraiche.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The actual cure is made with clementine juice, salt and sugar, and then tequila, so we're talking blue agave. Again, spirit level, Mexican, delicious.
Unbelievably delicious.
Just a very smooth
Yes.
salmon. That is so good. And I think it's a really great example of where alcohol is included within dishes and you wouldn't necessarily realise it from the taste. So it is going to be
Wow.
really interesting to see what difference that makes when it comes to how much alcohol we're actually ingesting.
And it may not. Now, I should stress, across a 7-course tasting menu as we're doing, you would very much pace that across an evening. We're going to keep the pace up.
That's probably a good move. For science.
For science.
I think it's time to get into the test zone. Now, whilst we can't find credible sources for this one,
Excellent.
we have found it mentioned in a number of places online. It's the balloon test. All an officer will ask you to do is to blow up a balloon until it pops. If you can do so without feeling nauseous and dizzy, you're fine to carry on driving.
And we just keep on blowing until it pops.
In your face, yeah.
What a horrible test.
Oh, it's struggling.
Yeah, but I hate balloons and I hate popping balloons. I don't want to go any further.
Come on. What?
Okay.
I'm not drunk. Keep going. Oh, you little wimp.
Yeah, but I'm deaf in one ear now from yours.
You've had your canapés, you've had your amuse-bouche. Would you like your first course?
Yes. Absolutely.
Lift away.
Oh, wow.
What you have is chicken liver parfait with a Madeira jelly, cognac steeped raisins, and port onion jam en croûte.
Oh, I bet these raisins
Is
are...
that 3 or 4 elements with?
3 different elements. So Madeira, a fortified wine from the Madeira Islands of Portugal, cognac, a French brandy, and then port, another one from Portugal that is fortified wine, but we're talking Douro Valley.
That jelly is sensational.
It has such a delicious burnt flavour. It just tastes like it's been absolutely char grilled,
Yeah.
almost to perfection. Such a deep, sweet flavour.
The caramelisation of sugars in the onion, great, but within the sugars of the port. Remember, port is made from a process where the fermentation is stopped so the natural sugars remain, and then they throw in a load of extra distilled liquor to take it up to a fortified level. You've got your jelly, which is made from the Madeira, and then you've got cognac, so Courvoisier, a French brandy, that have been steeped into the raisins. And the way that Kush has done that, he's literally put them in an open bowl through a vat pack machine 8 times, so they plump up and they absorb all of that booze. Again, deliberately so. Each element, the booze adds a freshness, a zinginess, a depth of umami flavour that you get through fermentation that gives you so much more than just a raisin.
I know that we're doing this experiment because we're looking to see if the alcohol included within the food has an effect on our bodies. I would say at the moment is having an incredible effect on the food.
I mean, the fact is, if you were served that in a restaurant, it might be a tad too much. Any one or two of those boozy elements on the plate perfectly balances out. We've done 3 to demonstrate. But you're right, there are some dishes, especially when we get to dessert, that are laced with alcohol, but they're there to improve the food. It's not about ordering an alcoholic drink. So again, look at the colours of these kind of booze. The Madeira is that rich, nutty, sort of caramelised flavour. And we heat it up in order to set the gelatin, but it's not cooked off. Now, even if you boil or simmer alcohol for 15 minutes, say, like 60% of the alcohol burns off, but not all of it. Each time we are asking for empty, clean plates, not a challenge when the food is that delicious.
Or just for me in general.
And because through history, alcohol and booze and the effects of have become incredibly philosophical, we're also going to drip feed in a few famous quotes. I'm starting with the most famous of all. Here's to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Homer Simpson.
Yeah, the great philosopher.
Yeah.
I drink, therefore I am.
Yes.
Pissed.
2 fortified wines and a cognac at 40%. Excellent, we've added it to our collection. Boys, would you like a main course?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Let's lift away.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Beef fillet with bourbon peppercorn sauce, whiskey, garlic confit, and triple sec glazed carrots and beets.
The smell is amazing, and then I heard you say triple sec.
Dig in and enjoy. Let's talk about this. We start with bourbon, Woodford Reserve. So we're talking 43% American whiskey, corn, rye, barley, aged in charred oak. That's going into the peppercorn sauce. It's also got a nice Shiraz mustard going on in the sauce. So basically that's, you know, a really jammy Australian red wine as an Australian mustard. And when you make mustard, it can be alcoholic.
That sauce dances on the tongue.
It's so silky.
Moving around the plate, we've also given you some whiskey garlic confit. So this is Scottish single malt in virgin oak. So again, a lot of that kind of oakiness, but that's gone into roasted garlic, like dried garlic, to rehydrate it. And then we finish with triple sec. Now triple sec, we've used Cointreau, but what we've done is used it to rehydrate those freeze-dried carrots and beetroot.
Try that on its own. That is insane. It's so punchy. Whoa. It's not punchy garlic, it's roasted, delicious confit garlic, but it's got a boozy slap on the balls. There is definitely the alcoholic warmth on the back of the throat that comes through. Yeah.
I think this is the first plate where I've gone, that's too much.
Do you think?
Yeah.
You think it's too much, too boozy?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Jamie, I throw Mark Twain's quote at you. Too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Classic.
So if we look visually at what that means, little bit of bourbon, little bit of whiskey, little bit of triple sec.
It was a struggle to get through that plate.
You really didn't like it?
No.
I thought it added a really interesting mouthfeel.
Boys, into our test zone. You've moved to our test zone. I'm also going to move you back to the early 20th century and the Romberg balance test. Originally developed to detect neurological defects, how later adapt to test for alcohol sobriety. All I want you to do is stand with your feet together, tilt your head right back, close your eyes, and stand there. And if you've ever had that sensation of spinning room, this will set it off.
Worst feeling.
And that's what it's designed to do.
Oh, that's not nice.
And around the same time, they might also ask you to do the alphabet challenge backwards. So if you could just recite the alphabet backwards from Z.
Z, Y, W, V, X, U, T.
No, V-U.
Oh, yeah.
T,
S, R, Q, P, O, N, M.
How are you doing this?
L,
Very impressive.
K,
I'm out.
J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A.
Very impressive. Take a seat. Let's do the test.
This feels like it's going to have
0.11. In some European countries, particularly France, you have to have a breathalyzer in the car with you.
0.12.
Would you like a palate cleanser before we move on to dessert?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Right, gents, lift the cloche.
Oh, hey.
Often served either a granita or a slushy or a sorbet, deliberately designed to reset your palate after quite a rich meal. Now this is a gin and lime slushy.
Is this supposed to be frozen? Because I think there's so much alcohol in it, it cannot be.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that it delivered on the botanicals.
Whoa, I'm awake.
We wanted to make sure it delivered on the botanicals and the herbal freshness of Monkey 47. So in particular, a gin that's got loads and loads of botanicals. It's from the Black Forest in Germany, offset with lime and some sugar, so that you get that really refreshing bite to eat.
It's not just refreshing. I mean, that's
a gin mojito.
You know when you shower using mint shower gel,
and it goes in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's like
or
that,
is it
but on
the
your
right
tongue.
place?
On the right place.
For gin to be classified as gin, it obviously needs juniper in it, but it also needs to sit between, I think it's about 37.5% and 47%. We chose this one because it's the upper end of that. It is 47% alcohol.
Eye-watering.
And it's made by monkeys. It's amazing.
As it starts to take effect, if we think about philosophy, let's go back to an ancient Greek playwright. We're talking 5th century BC. Quickly, bring me a beaker of wine so that I may wet my mind and say something clever.
Well, that was an experience. That was almost a full body experience.
That was essentially a shot of gin with some mint and lime.
Boys, into the test zone.
Oh my gosh. Loosey-goosey. Right, what pointless thing have you got us doing now, Ebbers?
Something from Argentina.
Okay.
This was not official, but it was done as a PR stunt. What they asked people to do was to tango together.
No.
A very rhythmic dance that needs coordination, and you should move as one, as a pair.
Surely this depends on whether you can tango sober.
Yeah, but everyone in Argentina can.
We're not in Argentina!
I'd like you both to tango.
No! You were supposed to carry me.
Lift the cloche.
Yes!
Woo.
Oh, yes.
Oh, hello.
This is kind of a deconstructed tiramisu. So, rum and coffee syrup soaked ladyfingers with a spiced rum mascarpone.
They're more booze than they are. They're 90% booze.
Yeah, there's more booze than there is ladyfingers.
Yeah, there's no fingers there.
Cheers.
Cheers. A classic deconstruction of an Italian dessert. It's a pick-me-up because it has booze, chocolate.
I would need picking up after this.
Off the floor.
To stress, this is rum and Kahlua
Not much else.
in the sponge fingers, but actually working with the coffee and the chocolate and the alcohol, those three pick-me-ups. And then the paler cream is that, would be traditionally masala, but we've kept it with that kind of rum vibe by spiking it with Captain Morgan. So it's got that spiced rum. So there's two different rums in this, plus Kahlua, to make your dessert.
This is phenomenal. I mean, it's, I think, the booziest one we've had so far.
Yeah.
El Dorado, aged 12 years. So that is in the sponge fingers. Wow.
No. There are sponge fingers in the El Dorado rum.
So we're going to add Kahlua, the rum, the El Dorado Demerara rich molasses rum, and then our spiced rum Captain Morgan.
You enjoyed that, didn't you?
Oh, I love that.
Gents, enough muttering. Into the test zone. Boys, we know that when you're a little tipsy, we slur our words, we slip up on things, we and ah a lot more.
Barry always drunk.
And therefore I take you back to another early 20th century example from the US, an articulation test.
Oh.
Where police officers would ask suspects to quickly repeat the phrase Methodist Episcopal.
It's got good, it's got really
got good
lovely
rhythm to it,
yeah, hasn't it?
3 times as a minimum, bearing in mind this is a specific branch of Christianity that combines two key elements. Those two words.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Methodist Episcopal. Methodist Episcopal. Methodist Episcopal. Oh no. Methodist Episcopal. Methodist Episcopal.
Why are you doing
Methodist Episcopal.
I think Jamie just got his tongue tied around testicle, not episcopal.
Methodist and testicles. Is that?
I mean, any other tongue twister would also work, and I guess it depends on where in the world you are.
I think we're going to jail.
Yeah, I think we're going up.
Well, take a seat. Let's see if you are by doing a proper test. Faithful and charming individual.
Why are you so puckered?
0.17. Stepped it up.
0.21.
At 0.21,
What shall I be feeling?
whilst we don't advise it, technically you can still legally drive in Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Holland, and absolutely the UK, which has the highest level
That's mad.
of all countries. I think it's time for dessert number 2. Quite often you might get
Wow.
a cheese course and a dessert, or a pre-dessert and then a dessert. We've just gone double dessert.
We have had such spectacular food today.
Is this a trifle?
Absolutely.
So Kush designed all the rest. This was Emma's contribution.
Emma's input.
This is a sherry trifle with kirsch and cherry jelly, and then a vodka spiked vanilla custard. Now bear in mind, kirsch is a clear cherry brandy, again 40%.
So good.
Fermented and distilled black cherries.
I bit into the chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate has got a little
It's
cherries.
not got a little. It's got not got a little anything. Did you eat your chocolate? It didn't make you do this face.
So this is a pale sherry, which we're adding into the sponge. That gets soaked up. We've also got a clear cherry brandy, kirsch, and vodka, which we put into the vanilla custard. Bear in mind, lots of classic dishes like tomato vodka pasta, you're generally cooking out some of that vodka. In a dessert and a warmed custard, less so.
Wow, this is very nice.
While you enjoy the very nice,
This is exactly how my nan makes it.
Ah! Have you tried the sponge? Oh my gosh! I think neat. I'm not much of a neat alcohol drinker.
I mean, bearing in mind your pale cream sherry, famous brand Croft, is only 17%, it's a fortified wines. Actually, the bit that's soaked into the sponge is only 17% with all that sugar and added. However, the vodka and the kirsch, both 40%. Gents, into the test zone. Now, this legitimately happened as an awareness campaign in South Korea. In some karaoke bars in 2012, the microphones were fitted with breathalyzers. And as people sang through their song of choice, their sobriety level, how much they'd consumed, appeared on the screen behind them so that people could judge how drunk versus how good their singing was.
That's really good. I like that.
Unfortunately, we don't have the rights for any classic karaoke numbers,
Thank goodness for that.
but we do have our own composition.
Oh, this is our
this is
sea
what-
shanty. This is promotional material from a previous live show.
Which you can buy on demand now.
We'll cut seamlessly between the footage of the sea shanty and you guys giving this your best efforts.
There once was a boat that went to sea to catch some fish for a very nice tea. The boat hit storms and the wind did howl and the crew were washed right out. Where did the Eversman go with J lads, Kush and Mike in tow? 1 minute they were rowing their boat and the next thing they're wiped out.
Keeping time and rhythm is
more than washed up on unfamiliar shores. TV crew with a plan in store said live in 3, 2, 1.
Have you enjoyed your meal?
Yes,
I had a lovely meal.
it was a lovely meal.
I could fetch you the bill, but usually in a fancy restaurant you get a couple more petit fours before you finish.
Let's get the petit fours and then
Do a run.
You won't be able to run in a straight line at that point. Lift the cloche on some petit fours, single delicious morsels.
But there's 6.
where do you want us to start, Edders?
Like the canapes, you often get a couple of different single mouthfuls. Let's start with the rhubarber on the spoon. So it's got a little bit of blackberry preserve and some cream, but essentially a nice yeasted, enriched dough that is soaked in rum.
Why just smell that?
This is Ray and Nephew, so it's 63% Caribbean rum. It's fiery, it's intense, but with the blackberry and the cream and the sugar.
Up your bum.
With the blackberry, I don't think that's as bad as the ladyfinger. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was delicious. I didn't find that as potent as some of the other applications.
It was the initial potency rather than the kick.
It was
at the end.
oh, this is Ray and Nephews.
Yeah.
I'm in big trouble. But it tastes fantastic.
Have a little jelly cube. This is myrtle syrup jelly cube. So myrtle syrup, again, quite herby, quite botanical. Barry fell in love with it when we went to northern Italy to look at rice paddy fields.
Got into it.
It's an age-old tradition, doing boozy jellies. We all know of wine gums. They used to be made with wine.
Is that true? Of course. That's why they were called wine gums.
Yeah.
I didn't even...
I hadn't really considered that.
No.
And the last delicious one is a chocolate truffle inside of a little vol au vent case.
Oh, wow.
Lovely.
Made with absinthe. So the richness of the chocolate and the buttery pastry working with the anise and that wormwood spirit. Again, we're talking sort of 68% ABV.
Can't say that we're not trying to eat ourselves drunk.
No. Is this an all-in-one?
Yeah, like all canapés or petit fours should just be
What are you really idiot?
a wonderful petit four. Kush and I enjoyed one of these earlier. It's rather delicious. But it's a grower, because as the chocolate dissipates, then you get the booze.
Right.
Wonderful to accompany a coffee at the end of a meal.
Because I'm not sure you can taste alcohol. If you're left with a lovely, lovely little... From the instant it hits your mouth, it tastes of pure absinthe.
Boys, just before we get the final breathalyzer reading to see where we've ended up, this is the visual representation of all of the alcohols that you've consumed parts of through the food that you've eaten. Given the onset time for alcohol can take between 10 and 30 and peak could be 30 to 90 minutes after alcohol, we've left it half an hour before this final test. Jamie's highest point was 0.17.
No, but I've gone low.
0.05.
Less than 0.05, low level or zero alcohol. I've gone back to the start.
You've gone right back to the start, even after all of that food. And that does surprise me, because I feel like that's several shots worth across a meal.
I would have said just the rum barber by itself was enough.
0.11.
So basically, I mean, you've gone down a 0.01 for the last 3 tests.
I know we've done it sciencey-ish,
Ish.
but I don't necessarily believe it.
Yeah, I can't tell whether I've had a lovely time, and there was a moment around sort of dish 5 and 6 where I felt quite buzzy.
Yeah.
But not by any means impaired. I just felt loosey-goosey.
Yeah. What's fascinating, someone observing the whole thing, that kind of knows how you guys operate in front of a camera. You got very giggly, very chatty, talking over each other and everyone else, as everyone does in the pub when you've all had a few drinks. Everyone gets very chatty. I saw a big difference in your behaviour, but the breathalyzer says technically, by law in the UK, you could still drive, including even in Scotland, even at Mike's highest, although there are many nations where the tolerance is 0. Either way, A, we've had some delicious food, B, we've learned how to put booze into food, and C, we don't advise anyone drinks or operates heavy machinery after any element of booze.
Did we eat ourselves drunk?
No.
No, but I think we gave it a really good try.
Yeah, 100%.
Comment down below, what do you think? Any of those courses that you'd have loved to try yourself, or dishes from where you're from where booze is an integral part? Comment down below.